Thank you, Chairman, National Lands Commission. Now, give the Senator chance to interrogate the response as tabled by you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair and NLC, for the response. Chair, number one, I'm actually going to present my dissatisfaction with the Commission that you are very much aware that I'm the one who raised this particular statement. And you appeared before this committee and planned your visit. It would have been courteous for the Commission actually to invite me to accompany you to the said area. But according to me, there is a hidden agenda why I was not invited to that particular visit. That is number one. Number two, Chair, I think there are a lot of gaps in the response that has been given. Number one, on question number A, I think if I may read the paragraph, I would want to know where is the policy by the government and World Bank. I want to have a copy of that policy because it will give us guidelines on how this project actually was initiated. Now, we are being told that the project has no land acquisition component as the project was understood to be implemented on the demarcated road corridor. I don't know what that means. Whose fault is it? Does it mean that the land that the road construction is going to take place on is not owned by anybody? Yeah, we need to understand that. Because when you say there was no formal request for acquisition of the land, what does it mean? Because I'm sure the road actually passes through certain individual lands. So how are you going to deal with that? And again, Chair, I want to know whether the road works has been gazetted, because that will actually advise us on how compensation, who should be compensated, is going to assist us. Chair, we discussed with NLC one time when we visited as a team, and we actually said that members of public were coerced at the beginning to sign those documents. They were kind of forced. If you don't sign, you will not be compensated. That's not right. Yeah? So, even for those who have been compensated, they have been forced, let me use that word, to sign those compensation documents. Again, Chair, I wanted actually to know the Commission to give us the list of how compensation or rather review has been done, because I've raised two statements to NLC requesting the review of this particular compensation to be done. Now, in the response to B, we are just being told adjustments were made, accommodated cost distortion, blah, blah, blah. We want to know how those adjustments were done. From what figure to what figure? From what basis to what basis? And I think last time, Chair, when they appeared before us, I said our benchmark is Nuno Modogashe. And I had requested the compensation for Nuno Modogashe vis-a-vis Isiono Modogashe. That has not been done, actually, in the response that I'm seeing here. Chair, so clearly the Commission is not clear, or they are not telling us whether the review is going to be done or not. Because when this compensation for Nuno Modogashe was done, it was 7 years ago. The cost of actually materials has gone down, up. It's not the same. Because a kilo of nail, or rather nails, is even 10 times compared to Nuno Madogashe. And we want to know those figures. Chair, we are being told that in statement number C, that members of public were involved, political leaders were involved in the manner in which actually this compensation is carried out. Let me say it here in public, that the compensation for Isiolo Madogashe is shrouded in conflict of interest. It's hidden. Yeah. Members of public are not clear on what is happening. I really want the commission to come out and tell the public, this is what we are doing. I know you have visited the areas affected, because in paragraph C, you have said there are certain towns that you are still supposed to look at. We want to know which are those towns, so that when they are left out, we can be able to know that these are the towns that are left out. There is no transparency in the manner of compensation. Chair, again, when we are being told land is not compensated, this is community land, number one. Number two, the areas that the road works is taking place is already gazetted by the county government of Isiolo. They are individual land. So we want to know where by law individual land is not compensated. That has to be explained to us. There are individuals who have bought land within the area of demarcation. When you tell us they are not going to be compensated, I have bought that land. I want to know how I'm going to benefit, because I was not given free. You are telling me it will not be compensated. I want to know how I'm going to be to benefit from that. Now, as far as your list is concerned, there are those who are left out of the compensation. They are not captured. There are those who have not even raised the complaints. I have been personally on the ground where in a compound, the surveyors were just looking at the building. They have not looked at the piping that is done. There are water tanks they have put in there. We want to know how compensation was done, because if I have a compound and I have actually several equipments within that particular compound, it should be compensated. You cannot just look at the building and actually say this is what we are going to compensate. You have to consider each and every expense that have incurred in that particular compound. Chair, I have been on the ground where a building that is actually joined. There are 3-4 buildings that are compensated. The rest are left out hanging. If you want even photographs of those structures, I can provide. In the areas of Kulamawe, 3 buildings, or rather 3 properties are compensated, and they are joined, they are on the same line, and the rest are left out. Chair, again, you know, the road works affect even the second lane from the road. Automatically they will be affected by the dust, by the noise. How are those people going to be compensated? Those are the things we really want to know. Finally, in the last meeting, Chair, I requested for the list of beneficiaries. And let me say on record here, there is a reason why NLC has refused to table the list of beneficiaries. Because in the last response, they are saying that we will provide that at a later date. I remember, Chair, telling you that we'll provide the list within that particular week. But up to date, we don't have the list of beneficiaries. This is a house of record. This is a house of parliament. We are representing our people. There is nothing secret about the list. We want to have that list. Unless that list is provided, we will not be happy as a representative of Isiolo, myself, and also the people of Isiolo. And let me say this, Chair. From Grapevine, there are people who are not supposed to be on that list. He's the area member of parliament of the area affected, and I think he was with the team when they were on the ground. He has more information than myself. Maybe if you can give him some few minutes, he can be able to enlighten.
We can, we give Tubi a few minutes.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Chair, I was with the team the whole of last week, and we traveled all the way from Mulugai back to Kolamawe. And we have interviewed, they have interviewed the people on the ground. And everybody has been saying there are three types of people who are there. There are those who refuse to sign in the first day. There are those who are forcefully told to sign or go to court. And then there are those who are not captured. All of those people have presented their cases. And what the whole group said, from Lugashe up to Kolamawe, Yak Barsadi, they said we want revision of the whole thing. Because it was not done objectively, it was more subjective done. And they pointed out one employee of the commission, a madam called Isabella. Everybody from every village has been mentioning about that lady. That they were forced, literally forced, to sign or go to court. So these guys are our people, those of us who are living in that part of the world, suffered sometimes back the issue, the force of the government during the Shifta War. And anytime anything mentioned about the government and the courts and all these things, people will recoil very fast and they just take it up. And that is what they exactly said. I was with them from the word go, and all this, all what they're saying. And they are saying that Nunumo Lugashe, most of them have been paid. Some of them either paid on the other side in Nunumo Lugashe and Isiolo tribe now. They are saying what is paid in Nunumo Lugashe 5 years, 6 years ago is not applicable on this side of the road of the country. I mean Isiolo County. So there is use and cries up to today. And Mr. Chairman, I fear for them. I fear for the road because I was there and they said we may not be allowing some of this road to continue if they are not given whatever is due for them. There is the issue, the Nunumo Lugashe one. And then, like Senator has said, a lot of corruption has gone into those areas where people are being paid, those who are not supposed to be there. We know of every other center, and people are included those who are not supposed to be there. But those genuinely who are supposed to be paid are not given the right things they were supposed to be paid. So there is a lot of problems, and we expect. We just came back on Friday. That was the day when we came back from that trip, and. 2 days ago, that is, or 3. So, problem out there is nothing which is going on around honestly in that area, and we need review of that thing, that of the whole process. And nobody seems to be. You remember very well, Mr. Chairman, when we were here with the Senate committee the other time, and then while we were complaining, and the community had been complaining about the unfairness of compensation process, what happened was NLC gave out a list which was disputed to Kenya. And it is in that Senate committee meeting where we recalled, the Senator and me, we objected on the matter. And then it was called back. The list was said we was forced to be recalled. It was recalled. The list was recalled to be revisited. Revisiting has not been done to date. We still went and they were trying to get the same story of last year. So something has to be done, and I think whatever we are saying in the Senate has
been gazetted, and part of those affected persons own this land. So the big issue is, why are you compensating on the structures and you're not compensating on the land they legally own? Which now you need to respond.
Okay, much as the Commissioner continues to respond, I just wanted to emphasize this. Under Section 107 of the Land Act, it is the acquiring entity, it's national government that tells you, writes to you and tells you what to acquire. We cannot start on our own and say, we are going to acquire this land. So when KENHA, which is a national government agency, through the CS, writes and says, we want to acquire a particular parcel of land, and this is the land, and the portion we want to acquire is this, we start the process. Now, in this case, there was no request for acquisition of land. And it was KENHA which manages roads, which considers this as a road corridor. So what they ask us to do is tell us, in a sense, we have a road corridor, we want to construct a road, but there happen to be people on that road corridor who ought not to be there because it is a road corridor, it's public land. However, because the people are settled there, you'll compensate them for their structures and so on and so forth, but not for the land because it's public land. Now, that is the position of KENHA. As we speak, Chair, even if you were to tell us now to acquire the land, we will not do it unless KENHA does a formal request under Section 107 of the Land Act, or unless you amend the law and say we can wake up as a commission and start acquiring the land. So that's the scenario about the land. So as this process was taking place, when these issues come up, even as we speak, we will still have to engage with KENHA because this site visit ended on Friday. We are looking at the report internally. We may have to engage with KENHA and tell KENHA there seems to be this understanding. You are probably wrong about this. You need to ask us to acquire the land. But we cannot acquire the land without a formal request. So the request we had was to do with validation of the RAP they had already done on the structures. So that's the broad picture, Chair.
Chair, that is the law of the land. What does the law say about the people of Kenya? What does the Constitution of Kenya say about the people? Because here we have to balance, really. We are talking of human beings, we are not talking of animals. We are talking of people with children who are going to be displaced without knowing where they are going. And that is where I am.
And as Chair is answering that, maybe the Chair should also tell us, in the spirit of a one government approach, if KENHA tells you to commit an illegality as the Chair, would you still go ahead and do it? Because what is sounding is that you are told, yes, compensate the property, the structures, and you know it's an illegality because at the earliest that you discovered this land was gazetted and belonged to individuals, that's the time that you should have told KENHA in this the spirit of one government approach. Or are we working for different governments for different people? Because I would expect you as the Chair, if KENHA did not have that information, on the day that you got that information, you should be telling this committee, I actually wrote to them and told them there is an issue that we need to look into, and this is what I wrote, this is the response. Indeed, if you want to serve Kenyans. Thank you, Chair.
Chair.
Chair, I think this issue just came up, as I understand it.
Maybe you can answer together. Yeah. Let me say this. Chair, I think this issue of Isiolo Madogasho started quite a while ago. It's not something of today. NLC, they have been on the ground all along. We have raised these issues day in, day out. Now, if they sit here and tell us this is the instruction from KENHA, and we must go by the instruction by KENHA, they have been on the ground and they have seen that individuals are owning those lands. Now that you have been on the ground, you have seen there is a problem. Are you ready to go back to KENHA and tell them there is a problem? Are you ready to do that? Because that is what we want. And again, You must actually review even the policy. If you go on the ground and you see there's a problem, you can't say this is a straight jacket that you must go by that. This is one government. When you see that people's rights are violated, you should actually say, hey, there is a problem here. But if you say we must go by instruction given to us by Kenya, then I think that is not right. And it's unfair to Isiolo people, which we are not going to accept as leaders. I thank you, in as much as we need the road. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, I would just want to continue from where I left and probably also bring to the attention of the committee the date of 2017-2018 has been alluded to, and that is when the project actually did start. And the various processes have gone through from the validation of the RAP till when we went to the ground to do our physical inspection. The visit we are talking about was basically what we call the grievance review mechanism, and which by its very design is actually designed to be able to bring out these issues. What I would want to put on record is, as far as Kenya is concerned, even as of today, is that the land in question is still a road reserve. Why these matters have come up now is because they have been sounded out. But I would also want to report that even as we were undertaking the inspections, these issues never came up. Maybe they have come up later. They've been recorded as grievances. The last time we were in this committee, I think at some time last year, the issues came up. I know it has taken about 1 year to go back to the ground for many other reasons, but there is good reason why these matters are coming up now. What we would say, there is good reason in this sense that there is a created mechanism within that policy that Senator Dullo we are going to be passing over that creates a way of ventilating and bringing out the issues. So for us as NLC now, we are alive of these issues, and that's why we are saying we would want to deal with a finality with Kenya. Is this a road reserve or not a road reserve? After that, everything then will take its own course. But as we speak today, this, according to Kenya, is a road reserve. That's the kind of plan they've provided, but it's something that we have picked out of the visit last week and which we shall be addressing.
Chair, just a clarification. According to Kenya, that is road reserve. Having been on the ground, were some of the complaints brought to you a road reserve? That's what I want a clarification from.
Senator Dullo, I think the only way I would be able to answer that is examining the documents that we are saying.
But you have been on the ground, Commissioner.
I've been on the ground, that is physical, but you see, beyond the physical, I think the matters we are talking about, these landed matters.
You know, let me say here, and for record, I think NLC is the one that is actually stepping on the right of Isiolo people. Let me say for record, because it's like, you know, you don't want to listen to people.